In this video, let's talk about the key component in color correction, white balance. White balance is everything, and a proper white balance is not as easy as you think. Let's dive right in. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is let's just go here, hit this guy right here, and use the temperature control, temperature and tint, and see if that does anything. And then we can keep creating versions and I can keep showing you different ways to approach it. So the first one, let's just start with the easiest. So I'm gonna do this. Okay, I need to bring the blue down and bring the red up. So if we go to the right, we warm our image. If we go to the left, we cool it off. So we need more warmth, not cooling it off. So I'm gonna go to the right and look what's happening. So now let me turn it off and on and just watch what just happened. So focus right here and see how we start to balance it out. Look at my red, my green. There's still a little bit, green is a little bit, dominant right here now that our blues are in control. And you can see that here too. Just focus right here. And the green is peeking out a little bit. But overall, we're getting much better. Look at before, look at after. So anytime you see concentrated color in your highlights or in your shadows, you are on the right track. You're balancing your shot. And now look at right here in the vector scope, how it's coming up in the middle. We're off to a good start. Same thing right here. Just look. This before, after. So this did a pretty good job, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is to tackle this problem where the green is a little bit higher. I'm just gonna add a little bit of magenta. So tint is between magenta and green. If I go to the left, I add green. If I go to the right, I add magenta. So what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of magenta and look what's gonna happen. I just added a little bit of magenta and it brought up my red and it brought up my blue and it just balanced everything out. And now we're looking better. So now that's even better, okay? So this is before, this is after. So that was one way to do it. Save this version. And now I'm gonna show you a different way to do it. This time I'm gonna do it using my offset. So offset is this fourth wheel that's to the right here, okay? And it's really simple to understand. Offset will probably be the best option here, and let me tell you why. Because look at what is happening here. Our blue channel is lifted. The whole thing is lifted, okay? It's not like it's on the same level in the shadows and then the blues are lifted. The whole thing is lifted, and that's where offset comes into play, because we can just literally take this channel and bring the whole thing down to match it with what's happening here. And let me show you what I mean. So to reduce blue, what do we have to do? We have to go in the opposite direction to blue. So if the blue is right here and we want to reduce it, we're going to grab this and we're going to go to the left, and look what's happening. So what I was doing is I started going just toward the blue, and then I started paying attention to the top, what was happening right here. And paying attention to the top, I pretty much took care of that, but then my blue is now lower than my green and my red. So it's adding a bit of red in the shadows because the reds are lifted now. So, you know, same thing. We can play that. We can do that dance. If I do this, now I can balance it. So now you can see that, you know, my blacks are balanced, but then there's a tiny bit of blue up top. But if we want to actually balance it, then what we can do is we can just go into our gain, because we want to make the change. The problem child is, you know, the highlights, nothing else. Everything else will fall into place if we take care of the highlights. So what we need to do is I'm going to go into my gain and I'm going to continue the same practice as this to balance out, to level out my highlights. So this is what I'm going to do. And there you go. And guys, I always tell you, you know this, that in color grading, a little goes a long way. Just tiny changes go a long, long way. So that's why you just have to be very, very gentle. Like some people, just push it because they see all the space on the wheel. So they just want to maximize it. Somehow they think that's better. Little is more. That's just the concept. Little is more in color grading. And this is the little nuance that you see a commercial and it looks so good. I mean, seriously, this is how it was shot. And if we just did this and if we turn it in right here with one node already, because it was shot with red, it just looks great. I mean, it looks solid. Like, look at it. It's shot well. I mean, let's just play it through. Everything is under control. I mean, it's looking good. So this just happened with one node by just doing a proper balance. Now let's look at another way to do it. Okay, so this time we're going to use printer lights, and this is the OG method, very popular back in the day, and it's still very powerful and it's very precise. So if I want to take out my blue right here and bring it down to balance out the highlights, I will just do this. So it's on your keyboard. The numeric keys turn into your hotkeys for printer lights. So 4 would be your red minus, 7 would be your red plus, 5 would be your green minus, and 8 would be your green plus, 6 will be your blue minus, and 9 will be your blue plus. So if I want to bring the entire blue channel down, I'm going to hit 6 and look what's happening. And I can park it right here. Now, if I want to bring my green channel down, or actually, let's just bring our red channel up because look at what's happening. Red is down here, red is down here. So it's just overall down. So if we just bring it up, maybe bring it down a little, something like that. So that right there, so we can see what's happening. Printer lights is a quick way to kind of just get you started. It's just your process. What do you like more? What are you more comfortable with? Are you more comfortable with just punching in numbers? Are you more comfortable with having your hands on the balls and the wheels and just moving those around? Are you more comfortable with your mouse where you can just use the slider? But I'm showing you different effective ways that are used to do this. And then eventually you're just going to pick your poison. And also there's going to be times when just to tweak it and just to get in there, you have to do one extra thing to just get it there. Okay. And that's not going to happen if you only know one method and you never even heard of the second method. That's why this is kind of important. So now that we see what's happening here and where we are, it's really easy for us. So I'm in my primaries bars. And if you're looking at this, this is what you got to do. You can see what's happening. So this is our printer lights. This is what we were using and it got us here. Now what we want to do is we want to extend our red up top and at the bottom. So the way we're going to do that is, what is bottom? Bottom is lift right here. So if I want to move this down, I'm going to go right here and I'm just going to pull this down a little bit and just look what's happening. Okay. And I'm going to leave it somewhere around here. Now I'm going to look at my top and I'm just going to go, okay, here's my red, here's my gain, and let's just raise it a little. I'm going to raise it just a bit until we flatline this and we're looking good here. We're looking great here. We're looking good here. See, we're mostly in the center. Now, the one thing that I do notice is now the lower mids are a little bit on the red side because I can see it here. Look at this. So it's a little bit on the red side in the middle. And to control that, as long as we're in the primaries bar, we can just grab that and just nudge it down a little bit. Just a little bit. And that right there. So we just did this using our printer lights. And now I'm going to show you the last method. And then after that, we're going to review all our 4 methods and just kind of get a sense for what's happening. So I'm going to create a new version, get rid of this. And this time, we're just going to do it using our OG primaries wheels. Okay. So now I'm looking at this. How can I fix it? This is how I'm going to fix it. My highlights are on the blue side are just too much. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to go in the opposite direction and I'm going to say, you know what? This is looking better. That's okay. We're going to take care of everything else. So now let's just go and take care of the shadows, which is the lifts right here. So they're pretty lifted. And if I want to bring it down, I can just do that. And this is where my focus is, okay? So look how this is white, and everything else here is looking good. And then right here, we're looking pretty good. Now, the one thing that I'm seeing is the green is kind of dominating the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that back a little. And now it's looking pretty good. Look at our white balance here and here. It's looking pretty solid. So let's just say this is our fourth method, okay? So let me do this and pull up our 4 methods and see what is really happening. This one was done using temperature and tint. This one was done using offset and some help from the primaries. This one was done using printer lights, and this version was done using primaries. And I gotta be honest with you, personally, I am split between printer lights and right here, our offset version. I've never been a fan of temperature and tint. It's okay if you're just really turning and burning and you just gotta run through a bunch of stuff, but I never really had the best luck with it. I feel like it's a cool feature. I genuinely feel like Resolve added these features for Lightroom and Lumetri users and people who are migrating from the Adobe suite. But I just genuinely think that they're still under development. They're going to get better and it's going to be great. But as of now, I have my hesitation with these tools. So let's reset. And this is my final and my least favorite way. This is just a bonus little tip. You can use it, but I don't rely on it. I don't depend on it. Anything that has the word automatic next to it, I'm just not a super fan of it. And this little eyedropper right here, you can click on it and that's your white balance. If you find any white point, you can click on it and it will balance the image for you. So you can see that it did a pretty good job if I go before and after. So sometimes you can use this and it can put you in a ballpark, but guys, don't start off with this, please. I even feel bad showing it to you because I feel like so many of you are just gonna use and abuse this method. It's cool that it's there. Use it every now and then if you need to, but this is not gonna help you in the long run. So that was just to show you different ways to go about your white balance.